Hello, everybody. It's Jeremy with Majors Academy Dog Training,
Josh Donahue with Argos Dogworks in
and
Atlanta, Georgia.
this is Think Dog, live Q&A, where you can submit your questions and we do our best to answer them. So, uh, I guess we can go into answering questions right away because we've got to
Yeah,
get to.
no,
So we'll
no,
go.
we both got some questions that came in on either end.
Yeah,
Do you want to hop on one of yours first, Jeremy? You want me to go
I'll go
first?
first. I'll go ahead and get it started.
Alrighty.
Okay. Ben Lopez says, what's the best advice on helping a dog aggressive, least aggressive pit bull because he wants his dog to be social and help his dog beat stereotypes? Okay, Ben, if you have a least aggressive dog, one of the things that you want to change is how you walk, the dynamics of the walk. So, for instance, I always tell people not to let the dog walk you, but you walk the dog instead. So one of the easiest ways that you can incorporate that is properly train your dog on a prong collar, and then enforce that your dog 90% of the time walks by your side, with the other 10% him sniffing, peeing, pooping. Because right now the 90% is probably him pulling, marking, and pooping everywhere, which is the opposite of what you want. So you want your dog to be heeling beside you 90% of the time, no sniffing, no peeing and pooping, giving him that job to do something to think about other than just I get to do what I want on the walk, and that will help him with his insecurity when it comes to lashing out at other dogs on leash. So another exercise that you could do is once you're outside and you have the leash and prong on, and we have videos of it too. So if you don't have a prong collar, I suggest doing that, and then go to our videos on how to properly fit it, and then how to heal your dog. And so anyway, an exercise that you could do to help control the walk is to walk outside of your door, put your dog in a sit, and keep him there until his mind settles. Because what you want to get your dog to do is begin to start thinking about something other than here's the outside. I'm just going to run everywhere, or I'm just going to pull everywhere, sniff everywhere, and pee everywhere. So, like I said, in summary, 90% of the walk is just healing. 10% he can do what he wants, but you got to give him that job to do. You have to take control of his mind and help him with that insecurity when it comes to the leash aggression. Thanks for your question.
Heck yeah! And also, I think too to add to that, I think one of the big things that I always push that really helps because there's that element of the reactivity and one of our colleagues and mentor Sean O'Shea always says go after the fuse, not the dynamite. When you're dealing with leash reactivity, once you get the prong collar and once you condition, you've got that really solid heel with no distractions. When you hit that sort of moment when there's another dog that might be reacting on a leash that's heavy, I always say two things. The first thing, walk really slow, and then take all your focus and put it down on your dog. Because here's the thing: if you put all your focus down on your dog, you're going to see little nuances. Because the fuse is a little like the body tensing just a little bit. Maybe it's the ears perk up. Maybe it's as small as just the face goes from this to like the eyes just getting a little intense. That's the kind of stuff that's the fuse, and that's where you want to be popping the collar to interrupt that focus. But the other thing, if you walk really slow through that, it's gonna make him think even harder because all dogs want to walk fast. And if you take same thing with those low distractions, if you walk really slow through everything, they're gonna have to make the decision to walk slow over and over and over again. Which means that when nothing's happening, they're already thinking, Dad, Dad, Mom, Mom, what I do, what I do, what I do. When that thing actually happens, because they've been thinking, Mom, Mom, Dad, what do I do this whole time? They're gonna go right back into that when that thing happens because that's been their habit the whole walk. So I always say, too, on top of what Jeremy said, Put all your focus on your dog so you can catch the little things, so you can try to catch that at the fuse, not the dynamite, the explosion, the aggression, the reactivity, but also walk really, really slow through it too.
That's it. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that's a good addition. Always to remember that. Um,
Right, it is.
I hope that helps, Ben Lopez. Um, Feel free to ask another question or whatnot. So Josh, you got a question you want to get to, buddy?
Yeah, and guys, just as a reminder, if you look over to the right of the screen, I can't remember, it's either the right in your screen or at the bottom, there'd be a little blue thing that says ask questions, and they'll pop up over to the right, and then we can click it so you guys can see what we're dealing with. But anyway, I got a question. This is from Ryan. He's down here in Atlanta. So it's kind of a two-part question, which I think kind of fits into the same thing. But the first question is, how do I stop a dog from chasing cars? And the second question is, how do I stop a dog from eating poop? Where this connects is the question is the e-collar the best tool in terms of handling this? And I think if we're going to look at, first we got to look at the root of a dog chasing a car. And a lot of times a dog will chase a car because it freaks them out and it makes them really nervous, and they feel like they've got to address that, so they become aggressive towards it. And so that's more of an issue of making sure your dog kind of looks to you for guidance in those situations and realizes, I'm stressed out. I don't need to handle this myself by chasing the car to try to attack it or make it submit or something, as much as I just need to look to my owner because they'll tell me how to handle that. And the second thing, sometimes a car can ignite a prey drive. And so that's a dog wanting to go into that hunting mode. And again, in order to help a dog through that, it's kind of the same answer. You need them to understand that in those moments, there's a certain time and place for everything. There's a time for you to go into that hunting mode, chase squirrels, go run around, be nuts in the woods in a big open field in your backyard. But there's also a time when we're together, you don't need to be chasing the cars. And really, you don't need to be chasing cars ever. So I think baseline, in terms of that, it's more important that your dog understands that they can look to you for guidance in all situations. And the way you really help them with that, again, chasing cars to me is more of a symptom. That's not a real issue. And if your dog is doing that, it helps a lot if you focus on all of the basic stuff. Crate, make sure they're good in a crate. Practice play, sit, down. All of that. Leave on my YouTube channel, Jeremy's YouTube channel. We got tutorials on how to do all of that. Focus on that first, and focus on a really calm state of mind when you're getting all that. And that's going to give you more success in terms of being able to redirect them and give them guidance in those moments. And the second question is, how do I stop a dog from eating poop? This is another thing where I think information out there, but I tend to think, and Jeremy, you might think differently, but you might also think it's the same. I tend to think it kind of boils down to two things. One is it's a learned behavior. They've seen a lot of other dogs do it. A lot of times, if you take your puppy and you put them in daycare, and there's a lot of other dogs in daycare that eat poop, your puppy will learn to eat poop, and they'll just do it because it's a habit. And then another reason is just because somewhere along in their diet, they're not getting the exact minerals and nutrients they need, and they can smell some of that in the fecal matter. So they eat it to try to get those nutrients. So sometimes helping a dog not eating poop is just changing the diet to a better, higher quality food. But I would say in most cases it's not that easy, because it's usually a habit. That's primarily what it is, and you got to break that habit. And this is where I think the e-collar can really help, and where it comes into play also for stopping a dog chasing cars is an e-collar can really help to kind of interrupt that focus. But I think that an e-collar can really help in terms of the poop eating, in terms of being more of a correction level sort of a thing. So, let's say their working level is a 3, then maybe you set it at like a 15 or a 20, and you let them run around in the backyard, and the second you see them sniff and start to commit to eating that poop, you tap the black button at a 20, and hopefully that's enough to surprise them away from it, and then you can kind of give them guidance to the recall or something like that. Jeremy, do you remember? Jeremy, we back in the day we apprenticed under Donahue of a Day Academy. He's not in Atlanta anymore. He's down in Panama. But we were talking about the poop. Do you remember what he said? The old school way of how they used to solve dogs eating poop.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
You don't remember? Oh, I remember because it threw me through a loop. They used to take what kind of battery is it? That's the square battery at the two.
I I I don't know. I know what you're talking about though. Now I remember. But yeah, I'm not sure about the battery.
It's like a D. It's the square one with the two little dots, like a D battery. And he told me back in the olden days, before they had like all the e-collars and all this other really cool kind of ways to help a dog through it. Because the idea is with the poop, when the dog's eating poop, is you want them to make the choice for themselves not to do it, because then there's a reality of what if I'm not around and they eat poop. There's no way to correct them for that. So you want them to decide to eat the poop or to not eat the poop just across the board all the time. And he said what they used to do is they would take, like they would collect different smells, different styles of poop, I guess, and then plant them in an area or in a yard in a room, and then they would take this D battery and they'd put one wire that goes through the end and the other one that goes through the other end. So you got two wires that kind of creates a little bit of electrical current. They would let the dog lick the poop and get like an electrical current to their mouth, and that generally stopped them. But I don't think that's probably a good way to do it anymore, because there's much safer, more humane ways to do it than that.
All right, folks. Hey, if you guys are here and you guys got questions, ask away. We are here to answer any questions you have, so let's get it started. I see that we have a couple of viewers, so go ahead, don't be shy, ask questions, and so we can help you out. Otherwise, I'm going to go to my next emailed in question.
Did you see the question that popped up over to the right, Jeremy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stick their nose in it. Yeah. Okay.
This is by the way, Jeremy. This is Bijan. Up in
okay, Bijan.
Hey, Bijan. Good to see you. I'm glad you're tuning in. Go ahead, Jeremy.
What? Okay, stick their nose in it. That's an old school. I think it's actually a way of doing things. They used to do that. They used to do that for even potty training too. But I don't think I would do that if I'm trying to help my dog not eat poop. We used to deal with it. Josh and I used to deal with it a lot. I'll just say this real quick. At dog daycare, there were some dogs that were just obsessed with eating poop, and you just had to watch them every time. So I would say try your best to pick your poop up, or watch your dog, and every time they go for it, just you have to correct them, just like Josh said. You do maybe want to create that inhibition to eat poop. So it could be something that they're not getting in their diet, or it could be something that they learn, because we've seen many dogs learn that, ooh, that's something good to eat, which is the so we don't want that. So anyway.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, let's move on to the next question we have. Is from Jamie, and she wants to know what's the best fight. She's from Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin. Actually, I think she's from Michigan, but she was a client of mine. She asks, best advice for us northerners that already have a foot of snow. Holy moly!
Yikes! Don't worry.
And for the tip, okay. Dewey, the Energizer Bunny, still needs some sort of activity. He does place for an hour or two a night, but still bouncing off the wall. I don't have a treadmill yet. Is there any tips on winter activities that can take place indoor that are just as stimulating as a structured walk? All right. Okay. Yes, there are some indoor activities. What I like to do with my dogs during the winter, if there's like a winter storm or whatnot, is I'll teach them. I'll take them at the end of the hallway, and I can teach them hand signals on how to sit, down, stand, just something new, maybe just even a new skill. I'll teach them to do that I don't need a lot of room to do that with. So I'll take my dogs to the end of the hallway and start working on hand signal down, hand signal sit, hand signal stand, just something. Another thing that you could do is a cool activity I learned from an agility trainer. You can take their bowl, if you have a plastic bowl, or even just anything, and teach your dog how to stand correctly on a bowl. And so what you would do real quick is have a treat, your dog's favorite treat or food. Encourage your dog to go to the bowl and get him to try and stand on it. And once he's two paws are on it, you can reinforce that. Give him a treat and reinforce that the two paws on the bowl is what you want. Just little mind games like that, or you can also do this, because I think Dewey, as I remember, is one hungry hound. He loves his food. So what you can do is do nose work with him. You can hide different treats and or tennis balls, because I know he's a tennis ball hound too. You can hide your tennis ball around the house and tell him to search for it, and make him find or help him find that tennis ball around the house. That's something to do too. So I don't know, Josh, you got any games, anything you do with your dogs indoors? I don't know. I know the weather's not as bad down in ATL, Georgia.
No, it's not. We have probably about 3 weeks where it's tough to go out, but not quite like that. You know, and I'm lucky. All my dogs are real lazy, so I've never really had to come up with any sort of special games. But you know, I think like what you said is really good. I know there's one that I learned from another trainer from Italy, but she you basically take, I don't have to show you an example, but you basically take an empty water bottle and you take a pencil and you go straight here. Look at this. I got this fancy little candle. I'm going to show this as an example. But basically, you take the pencil. If this is a water bottle, you take the pencil and you kind of put it through the water bottle like this. So, and then you put a little treat down on the top, something really stinky, something really good, and so you would hold. This is obviously glass, so I can't do it, but you'd hold just the pencil and let them get kind of the smell of what's in there, and the gravity is going to hold the treat down here. But as then they got to figure out as they're trying to figure out, you know, how to get the treat. Essentially, what they have to do is hit the bottom of their nose and knock the bottle over, and then it knocks the treat out. But again, I tried this with one of my dogs, Nola, and Jeremy and Bijan. I know you're watching. You guys know Nola really well, but she's a crackhead. She's just nuts. And when I tracked that with her, she was like taking her nose and going pow, 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 and like hitting it really hard and going crazy. And it's not that she quite figured out that turning it over actually pulls the treat out as much as she just went ape on it, and then the treat magically came out. Like, you know, she was really amped up about it, but you can help it by forcing them to do it calmly and making them to do it relaxed in a more calculated way. But that's the best I got.
Cool.
I don't know. It's not cold down here. Not like that.
No, yeah, you can pretty much go out year-round, which is awesome. But, okay. Well, did you have another question, Josh, that you want to take care of?
Up with Charlie. She sent me a message actually last night, and it was a good question, so I thought we might get into it here. I'll kind of read you a little bit of the correspondence so you guys can kind of get an idea. But basically, she's got a rescue dog. It's certainly one of those that this abuse case probably, but she's always been scared of everything and has some really high anxiety. But apparently now, after Charlie's worked with her for a little bit, she's much more trusting. But what happens now is that she licks at time, and when she's tried a lot of things, but no matter what she does, the licking doesn't quite stop. It's kind of like an obsessive lick. And I asked her if that it was coming from a needy or anxious place, and what she said is that it's kind of both. And one of the things that she said that I thought was interesting is she said, if there's someone that comes into the room that she doesn't know, or if she hears a loud noise, she'll just constantly lick Charlie's hand and won't stop that behavior. And then the other thing I asked her, and this kind of goes into it even more, is as far as affection, is there a lot of affection or little affection? And Charlie also said that there's a lot of affection. She gives her dog a ton of affection because if she doesn't, she feels like her dog doesn't like feeling alone or feeling ignored, and she probably gets a little depressed if she's not getting that. So anyway, I think in terms, Charlie, for helping you to deal with this and kind of where all that licking is coming from. So first and foremost, you got a rescue dog that's got some issues, and it's manifests in anxiety and insecurity. one of the things that's really going to kind of shoot you in the foot is giving so much anxiety. I mean, giving so much affection. Because the reality is, if she's scared like that, she's essentially, and a lot of people heard me talk about things in this way before, but she's essentially in a leadership position, and she's certainly a dog that doesn't want to be there. She kind of feels like she's on her own and handling that. Now, it's typically, I mean, it's normal. Most people, when they see their dog is not in a good way or in pain, or they want to give that love and affection because that's what we do to each other when we're feeling bad. But dogs are the opposite. They just don't want that. They want you to leave them alone. And it's going to seem a little different because you're going to try and leave your dog alone, but she's going to have that neediness of coming to you and licking you, and so it seems that's what she wants. But that's because for control whatever she can in order to feel like she's doing well in this leadership position. And she's seen consistently, if I go get in your lap, if I lick you a lot, then you'll give me that affection, which makes me feel good because it feels like I'm doing something right. And so it's not based in she needs you to help her through the situation by giving affection as much as it is she's terrified, doesn't know what to do, and she's looking for affection from you to say, to be that reaffirmation that, yes, I want you to be a leader. Yes, I want you to handle this situation. So after understanding that, what you really want to do to really help her out is, I mean, and you said that she said in the email that she was good in the crate, is she should be crated a lot. Let her spend time on her own. If she doesn't want it, tough cookies. Put her in the crate and let her start to be comfortable on her own, and let her be comfortable just being by herself there. When you bring her out, give her zero affection, absolutely nothing, at least as little as you can, because again, dogs, if this were the wild, let's say this was like a Mother Nature situation and she was in a pack of like 3 or 4 other dogs and they saw that sort of anxiety, they would do one of 2 things. They would leave her behind or they would kill her, plain as day, because as a pack, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and she is the weakest link, and they're only as strong as her, so they got to get rid of her so that the rest of the pack can survive. Not that we're saying you got to go kill your dog or go kick her out on the road, but it's good to understand that that's kind of where it's coming from. When you approach it like that, it's going to give you more success. So I think it's a lot better if you put her in a crate, leave her alone. When you bring her out, don't give her any affection. Don't feed into that anxiety because the affection is going to seem like praise. So don't give her any of that affection. What I want you to do is, again, in our videos, I both have them on our pages, but do place. If nothing else, teach her place. And teach her that when you're with me in this room, I want you to be in place all on your own. I'm not going to touch you, you're not going to touch me, but you're going to be in place because it's going to teach her impulse control. Because what she doesn't have right now is the ability to control the impulse to lick, 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 lick. When you give her something like place and give her those really strict boundaries, it's going to teach her to make the decision over and over and over again, stay here. Something happened, it scared me. Oh, stay in place because that's my safe spot. This is where I'm supposed to be. So the impulse control is going to teach her to control the impulse to act on whatever it is, act on licking, act on running, act on hiding, and it's going to create a new impulse. That moment that I feel stressed out, oh, do this other thing that my mom has to do that keeps me safe. Go to place, relax. That's going to be what keeps me safe. So I think above all else in terms of really helping you through it, lots of crate time, teach your dog place, and almost as little affection as you can possibly give your dog will help you immensely in that regard.
Awesome. All right, just a reminder, folks, if you are viewing this, we do have a Q&A section. If you have any questions, you guys go ahead and type them up so we can help you guys out. Otherwise, we're going to go to another email question. So, again, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and type them in right now because we are... Okay, I'm going to go on. This is a question from German Shepherd Rescue, a local German Shepherd Rescue up here. And the question is, any tips on dogs with severe separation anxiety? Crate training is obvious, but what about the dog's separation anxiety, but are not crate trained or freaked in the crate? What about dogs that have separation anxiety but are not crate trained or freaked in the crate? Okay. So, if you want to crate train the dog, you can actually help. Obviously, you can actually help that dog crate training him you can help that separation anxiety. But what do you want? What you want to do is during depending on where this dog is. If this dog is in a kennel, the best place to help with the separation anxiety is the fastest is going to be in a home environment. So if you can get a foster for this dog, then that would be the ideal situation. In a kennel, it's going to take you longer, but it can still happen. But when you're at home, you can crate your dog in your living room, and then what you should do is correct behavior as the dog is getting anxious in the crate. You can give a stern no. You can put a leash on the dog and give a leash correction. But anything obviously from feed the dog in the crate. But you want to condition the dog that place is a relaxed environment. So one of the things you can do is first and foremost teach that dog a really good down. So make sure that dog, anytime you ask that dog to lie down, that he does that right away. That's one of the first things that you can do to help that dog. Then what I do with my dogs is I'll put them in the crate and I'll tell them to down, and I'll stand there with them for a long time until I feel them calm down, and then maybe I can leave the room. But if I hear them getting anxious in the crate, I go down and I'll put them back in the down, or I'll tell them no. Definitely that anxiety behavior has to be corrected in order to create that safe place. It's just like with anything. I had a dog, one of my own personal dogs, would hear a noise and just run in the closet, and he's just a very fearful dog. But with proper conditioning, I taught him that the place command is actually the safe place. So now if he gets scared, he goes and runs and he lies down on his bed, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. So in summary, what you want to do is condition that dog to be relaxed in the crate. Never say hi. Excuse me. Never address that dog for 15 minutes when you first see that dog, and never say goodbye. So those two things kind of really help with the whole initial freak out. Oh, I'm glad you're here, or oh, where have you been type thing. So definitely condition relaxation in that crate.
Yeah, I think Jeremy, talking about that, this is something that, and I've been kind of relaying to a lot of my clients that I think helps is across the board. What we're always striving for is something relationship based, not tool based, not method based, but just relationship. How does that work out? And I think that when it comes to the relationship, I think it's really important that your dog just sees you as a guardian, and they sees you as somebody who is to be respected, and somebody who kind of has all the answers. And I think that it's really important to teach them boundaries first, and that's kind of what we always say whenever you got a behavioral issue. Both Jeremy and I, everything we're saying is go back to the boundaries, go back to the rules, go back to all this, because that's how dogs operate. They want to know those clear rules and boundaries first, and once they understand that, all that love and all that affection is there. You can give them as much affection you want, but just make sure that they understand the rules and boundaries come first.
Hey Josh, I got something. John just gave us a tip. If you guys have just joined, and I know we just got a few more viewers, and you are trying to see where you can ask a question, there is a symbol on the top next to the question mark symbol to open up that Q&A section. So I guess Bijan had a little bit of trouble seeing it at first, but it is on the just look for that Q&A button to go ahead and click that, and then you can go ahead and ask your question. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, and I just saw a new question. I'm going to take this one, Jeremy. Audrey, I'm so glad you're tuning in. We have Audrey's dog right now. Oh my goodness, his name is slipping my mind because I just keep calling him Big Guy because he's a giant 130-pound American Bulldog. But should the crate be covered? And the answer is yes. It should, in terms of if you have a dog that's very nervous. I don't think it's necessary for every dog, but I think if you've got a dog that's really nervous, it really helps because it makes them feel more secure, more closed in. But and this is for you, Audrey. While Tyson's been here, I mean, he's in a big because the typical crates we use are the large airline crates, but for a 103-pound American Bulldog, they're not big enough. So we've got one of the extra large wire fold-up crates, and so those you can kind of see through everything. And he's such a chill guy. He's so laid back and relaxed in the crate that you really don't need a blanket to go over it for him because he's already going to be really relaxed. But if there is a situation where your dog is in the crate and it seems like what's going on in the house is really stressing him out, or if there's something that they just generally have anxiety, I find putting something over it certainly helps because it kind of gives them more of like a kind of like cuddled in position, being like in a cave.
Yeah, definitely. When I had dogs, when I was down in Georgia, and I had maybe 3 or 4 dogs that came in, and I had people come into the door. This is something maybe that we could think about. But if you have a dog that barks at strangers while walking in, one of the things that you could do to help them that kind of bridge that gap is put a crate or put a cover over the crate so they're hearing the people walking to the door and walking around and talking all that, things that would normally get them to get up, bark, bite, or whatever, and they can actually feel safe in those moments. Because I used to have those dog-aggressive dogs or human-aggressive dogs in my apartment. I'd cover it, and no matter who came in, they'd be really quiet. So sometimes crates being covered for those reasons will help out as well. Thanks for your question.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I am going to go ahead and ask or answer another email question. And this one is from Josh, did you want to answer that question from Morgan? I know she had more than one.
Yeah, no, we do. Morgan, she asked this question a long time ago. We haven't been able to answer, so we're going to answer it today. Okay. Hey, Josh, I need help on how to allow guests into my home with my dog, Rowdy, being very nervous, aggressive to strangers that want to pet him. Rowdy is learning place. Awesome. You're incredible. He will stay there while a guest comes in, and then when I release him, he'll sniff the guest and then leave them alone. But if someone wants to pet him or reaches near him, he'll viciously bark at them. How do we transition him into being okay with crowds of people in our home and some of them wanting to talk to and pet him? Okay, so generally, when you have a dog that is very, very nervous around having people come in, you're doing all the right things. This is almost always my protocol. Usually, what I do if dogs are, even if they get really amped up, or if they're aggressive or nervous, whatever happens to be, the first step is always crate. And I think it helps to really transition things really well. If you put dogs in the crate, let the people come in, there's that moment where the dust settles, everything kind of relaxes. Once we get that, then bring your dog out and put them in place, and just let them get used to the people that are around them. Let them get used to the inflection of the conversation, whether it goes up, whether it stays down, whether it's serious, whether there's a lot of laughing, whatever. Let them get used to those kind of environmental shifts and changes. And then once you feel that, like you said, release them, sniff. And if they're good, they sniff and they leave alone. Then that's the thing, is where your dog is going to trust those other people and those strangers much sooner if they know that you have control over those people. Meaning, if you know your dog does not do great with people reaching out and petting it, don't let them reach out and pet your dog. Just don't allow it, because there's no way we're going to push your dog or force your dog to like that anytime quick. But what is going to allow them to get used to it is not trying to force them to be okay with it like right now, and letting them take their own time to get used to it. Especially those nervous dogs, you can't push them in that way. So I think it's really good to keep doing the same protocol you're doing. Maybe add the crate in there till the dust settles to kind of help, but keep that same protocol, and then just have control over your guests. Let them know you're not allowed to pet my dog. Don't pet him. Don't touch him. Don't talk to him. You're just not allowed to. He's just not ready for it yet. And the reality is there are some social situations where you got people that no matter how much you tell them, they just don't listen to you. If they don't listen to you and you know that ahead of time, keep your dog in the crate. Don't even put your dog in a situation where they're going to fail. Try as hard as you can to put your dog in a situation where they're always going to win, and your success rate will be infinitely higher.
Awesome. Yeah, you pretty much summed it up. I don't have anything from that. Why'd you do that like that?
BAM!
Bam! Okay, so we got a question from...
Explosive. It looks like this. BAM!
Okay. All right. Let's get to this question over here from Kelly. Right. Kelly asks, what's the most effective way to break a dog from sleeping in your bed? If a crate is not an option, we are crating our foster dog at night, but really need to break our other dog from our bed. First of all, thank you for taking the initiative to get your dog out of the bed. I am currently struggling with trying to convince someone else to not sleep with their dog. So anyway, thank you for doing that. All right. So what's the most effective way? First and foremost, you want to teach your dog the place command. Josh and I both have really good videos on how to teach that. So you can even put your dog bed right by your bed or anywhere where you like. And then what you might have to do is keep a short leash on your dog at night while sleeping. And if he tries to creep up in that bed, you're just going to have to put him back and tell him no. Tell him no and just guide him back to the bed. You might have to do this, you might have to fight that stubborn battle because he maybe is used to doing it and used to getting his way with the bed. So now you just got to show him that it's not going to work. So you basically just have to, your willpower has to be better than his, and you show him that place. And after a while, he'll begin to say, okay, it's not worth the effort of me getting up because they're going to simply just put me back. And once he realizes that, or she, then they'll stop trying to get in the bed. So definitely teach them that place command. Stay strong and stay consistent. The more consistent you are, the faster you'll break your dog of sleeping in your bed. But again, thanks again for taking that initiative. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and actually, Jeremy, I was just thinking about this one too, Kelly, for you. We actually have a colleague who uses a protocol for this that works extremely well every time. That should be used in conjunction with what Jeremy's saying, but make it a little bit easier on yourself and put the leash. Don't use the prong collar or any of the special collar. Just put it on a regular flat collar and then tie that leash to the foot of your bed or a piece of furniture so that it's literally impossible for them to jump up onto the bed because the leash keeps them back. That'll help you so you can actually get some sleep, and it'll kind of be that automatic, sort of reconditioning to go back to the place. And then it's just a matter of doing that a lot over time where they just kind of get used to being there, and then eventually untying the leash and then eventually getting rid of the leash so that they just don't get in the bed at all. But like Jeremy was saying, be firm about it, and be extremely consistent, and it just got to take a lot of work to get there.
Awesome sauce. Okay. You're very welcome. Thank you. She says, oh, she had a response. She said, that's a good idea. We have a dog bed right next to ours, but he sneaks up in the middle of the night, which is very typical. That's okay because, sometimes my dogs stick their head on the bed and they think that they're getting in, and I'm like, no, you can't do it. So, all right, I appreciate your question there.
And this is funny. This is a big difference between Jeremy and I. But I'm usually the school that I don't really care if the dog's sleeping in the bed or not, and I kind of enjoy it. However, my wife and I are always complaining about there's dog hair all over this bed, and we just kind of get used to it. But it's definitely a problem because we have a queen-size bed, and we got 3 dogs, and one of them's a big, stupid-looking pit bull who's wonderful. But what we end up having is if this is the bed, I'm sleeping like this long ways because I'm a tall guy, and all the dogs are bunched up here, and my wife is in this tiny little ball up here. So we both wake up and think, gosh, we should stop letting these dogs sleep in the bed. One day we'll commit.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is my only problem with dogs sleeping in bed. Your dogs, listen. If your dog's well behaved and they know boundaries and all of that, that's fine. What I'm thinking of is my client who has a dog that is aggressive and very insecure and you know, barking at strangers, charging strangers at the door, and you know, they're still having a struggle with getting their dog out of their bed. And so that's where my kind of I don't know why I'm so adamant about it, because you know, I've had a couple clients that do that, and I ask them, I say, so either you can sleep with your dog, but you just better be okay with the barking, the barking, the aggressiveness, the biting, and all that. If you're okay with that, by any means, you can sleep with your dog. But if you're not, then guess what? No more sleeping with your dog. You just can't. So that's how it works, man. So anyway, I don't have a problem with people who have, you know, if you sleep with your dog, blah, 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 blah. If your dog is well behaved, then it's your prerogative. But again, if you have some behavior issues you got to work out, then, you know, change has got to happen. So anyway, Josh, did you have another question you wanted to go ahead and address, or?
No, we got two more over on the end, but I'm gonna take one of them from Trinity. Hey, Trinity, I'm so glad you're tuning in. Trinity's got her dog Luna came in for board and train a little bit ago. So, but she's got her other dog Jethro, who's a newer dog to the home. So apparently Jethro is screaming when he's seeing other dogs out on the walks or when I'm outside with Luna, and he is crated inside, trying to interrupt the e-collar, but he's generally too far gone at that point. What do you do when you've missed the interrupt moment? Really, really great question. So this is, you know, there's a certain point when it gets too far. And when it gets too far, you can't beat yourself up because you missed the moment. You just got to find a way to reset it and set yourself back up so you can have success. The biggest goal here is not, you know, how do I handle it once I've missed it? Because once you've missed it, there's not a lot that you can do. The biggest thing that you need to be looking for is, what is the moment that sets Jethro off? Where is that tiny moment so that I can address that? You know, it's kind of like, you know, those things that say, I don't know, I'm horrible. I'm like Michael Scott when it comes to sayings because I can't ever say them right. But it's like, you know, you can't focus on the past without, and nothing about focusing on all the bad things about the past is going to help you with what you got to do today or tomorrow. You got to focus on the little details of in the moment. So don't focus on it being, you know, that big moment where you kind of lost it. Just say, dust your legs, whatever, off. I'm bad at that, saying those things. But dust it off and go back and readdress it when you have time and figure out where's that moment that he starts to get nuts. If he's screaming, you know, at other dogs on the leash, if he's doing it in the crate when you're out with Luna, a part of me wonders that maybe I wonder how much affection is he getting? Are you giving him a lot or is it a little? You know, we've talked about this a lot. But I would always say when you have those behaviors, certainly tone down the affection and turn up the rules, and really push to find those little moments with him, the tiny moments. Like we had with Luna, you really want to have that nice, calm, relaxed state of mind all the time. And if you don't have that, then let's go through and find those areas to address it. And send me an email. I want to do a follow-up session with you, so we can look at how everything's setting in.
Awesome. Okay, I got a question from Amanda. What's up, Amanda? Give Charlie some love for me. Okay, she says, adding to the crate question, our dog has recently been barking in his crate as soon as we put him in it. As soon as we open the door and let him out, he's fine. How do we get him through this phase? Okie dokie. So when he's going into the crate, he starts to bark. So I would say this, you know, you can do a couple of approaches. When you let your dog in the crate, I want to know this one thing though. Is it when you close the door, does he start to bark, or does that matter? So for instance, if you let him in the crate and the door is open, does he bark at that point? But what you can do, no matter what the situation is tell him no, correct him when he looks like he's about to bark. So he'll give you that look. It's you see this all the time in like German shepherds too. They'll give you a look right when you close that door of uncomfortableness. Maybe it's uncomfortableness, or maybe it's just him being a brat. And I think Charlie, it might be more on the bratty side, but just go ahead and correct him. Go ahead and correct him with the e-collar if you want, if you like, and or with the leash. So what I would do is I'd lead my dog into the crate. As soon as he starts to turn around, I would tell him no before he even gets a chance to bark. Just give him a nice verbal correction as he's turning around in that crate. Okay? Feel free to ask another one. Wait, it's as soon as we leave the room. Oh, okay. It's as soon as we leave the room. So go ahead and put him in that crate, put that e-collar on, and correct him via e-collar then. And that should do it. And again, he chooses the level at which the e-collar is on. So go ahead, put the e-collar on him, shut the door, or shut the crate door, walk out of the room, and if he starts to bark, tell him quiet and tap the button. And that should do it. Okay? Thanks, Amanda. I appreciate it. Okay. Awesome. All right, so I guess do we have any more questions here on the side here?
No, we burned through them, Jeremy. We burned through them.
All right. I'll go to my email and answer another question then. Unless you got something else you want to do. Oh, wait a minute. We're out of time.
We are out of time.
Okay. All right. Well, good. We've gotten through all the questions. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to type them, email one of us, or type them on our Facebook, and we will get to them next week. But this is episode 4, concluding episode 4 of Think Dog, and this is I am Jeremy, and you are Josh. Hey, I'm still trying to get good with this hosting crap. All right, give me a break.
Oh, really quick, because I know you haven't looked this far ahead and you didn't see it. But we actually aren't going to be having a show 2 Thursdays now because it's Thanksgiving Day, and we're all going to be. I know both Jeremy and I are going to be pigging out with some turkey, watching football, drinking some beer. So we're not going to be here, but we will let you know. I'm sure we'll just pick it up on the following Thursday. But we'll have links out and we'll let you guys know when it's happening.
That's right. So, like Jeff Gelman says, Jeff Gelman is one of our mentors. We are madly in love with you guys. Please tune in next time.
Madly in love with you guys. Madly in love. Madly. No, he does.
Madly in love with the hair and stuff.
He does these things. I love you. You guys are amazing. I'm madly in love with you. You're amazing. Oh yeah, Jeff. I hope you watch this so you can see all these crazy things I'm doing for you.
Oh boy, he's probably gonna kill us. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.